Hello and welcome to Teamfight Talkshow. I am DoA. With me is Frodan as always, and today we have our special guest, Emilyywang. Emily, how's it going?
It's going great. Hope everyone's doing well too.
Yeah, we're all getting ready for set 4.5, just kind of like enjoying a little bit of the end of set 4. A lot of us are playing on the PvE. Frodan, what have you been up to lately?
Yeah, I've been jamming a lot of PvE. I've been just kind of hanging out with the crew, last week we had the 2v2 tournament hosted by Raditz and Esports Law and hanging out with a bunch of TFT homies, and it's kind of interesting. It feels like everyone has like senioritis, at the end of sets. Like no one's really taking things seriously. Sure. We all kind of have to show up and like kind of at least and like we're keeping it together and trying hard. It's really interesting right now. So in a way it's like I kind of excited for the future, but also it's very relaxed and chill. So I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, this is always a weird time because like you just want to be on the PvE all the time. Everyone's figuring things out. There's patches every day. But before we get into all of that, because we've got a ton to talk about today, and stick around because after our regular show, we actually have the Golden Spatula Awards to talk about a lot of the great stuff from the first half of set 4. That's going to be a ton of fun. But first, there's so much to talk about between the end of set 4 and 4.5 coming in. But first, we have to get to know our guests a little bit better. Emily, for those who are not as familiar with you and kind of your experience in the TFT community, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about yourself a little bit.
Okay, I'm Emily. I've actually been streaming for about 3-ish years now, but I started streaming TFT around, I think, March of this year, or last year, 2020. I started in set 2, and I just stream part-time. I'm an attorney, actually, but yeah.
Wow.
Totally up
for
that. Yeah.
What kind of law?
I've always done litigation. I used to do some pharmaceuticals, but now it's a little bit of everything. So yeah.
So do you find any crossover from the world of law to the to playing TFT? Like, are there any principles that you can cross apply? I feel like there's a lot of analytical thinking that goes into practicing law, and there's a lot of analytical thinking that goes into TFT. So do you see any sort of crossover there?
I think it's just like in law, you also have to kind of take whatever you can, put it together, and like make the best case. And then TFT is kind of like take whatever items and people, or not people, but like characters. Wait, what are they called? Champions? Champions.
They're champions in League of Legends. Yes. Heroes in other games, champions in this one. Champions are people too.
Okay, well, you put them all together and make the best boards. It's like kind of similar, yeah.
All right, interesting. All right, you go through like the discovery phase when in the early rounds where you're finding your chosen, and then you move into litigation. You make it work. I see.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, just like you're chosen. Sometimes you don't like your clients, but you just gotta make it work anyway.
Yeah, just gotta deal with it. Yep.
You can't just like sell your clients one round though, and just like move to another one. And you want to like, oh,
true.
This is an enlightened chosen client. This looks much better. If only.
Do you ever talk to Esports Law about lawyer stuff or attorney stuff?
I talked to him a little bit because I was actually considering maybe like I could do what he's doing, or like I was interested in what he was doing exactly. And I mean, I'm still kind of interested, but I think I'm gonna wait to see like about moving to Korea and everything like that before anything else. So yeah, I've talked to him a bit about what he does and like how he runs his practice and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's pretty interesting what he does. So
yeah, he's helped me out many times over the years.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's
not because I was getting sued or anything like that. I'm talking like contracts and things like that. It's all been on the level, people. All right.
Okay.
Don't get any funny ideas. Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah, I met him actually at a TFT tournament randomly. I think we both got invited to a GiantSlayer one in around April. And I was like, wait, is this guy actually a lawyer? And I looked him up and I was like, oh, I wonder if like GiantSlayer put 2 of us together in a tournament because they knew both of us were lawyers. But it was just coincidence.
It's a lawyer edition, right? Yeah, he's great. But so let's talk about set 4. Let's abruptly shift from one conversation to the next, because that's what we do here at Teamfight Talkshow. What are the 2 things that you liked the most about the set? We'll throw this to you first, Emily.
2 things I liked most about the set. I I guess the legendaries in the set were pretty fun. Like Yone set, um, everything was. I thought the legendaries the set was more fun, so I like that. And the synergies, I think some of the synergies were uh pretty nice as well. Like I actually enjoyed playing hunters a lot. I enjoyed um I think I enjoy Ari. Ari's pretty fun. Stuff like that. And what I think it could improve, I actually really didn't like the chosen mechanic. And in this set also it felt
Really?
like yeah, I didn't really like it. It felt like I just saw too many 3-star 4 costs and also 3-star 5 costs. I think too many for my own good and my blood pressure. Like so many Talon 3s, like Ash 3s as stage 4. I really didn't like that. And also I also felt like if you were high rolling early this set, you just kept high rolling into the game and high rollers were rewarded more than usual. So those are the two things I didn't really like about this set. And I think maybe it can be improved in the future.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
interesting.
As a follow-up
Yeah.
question, this is like not necessarily because I know Doe and I will probably answer these questions too, but I kind of want to ask where you put set 4 in terms of your rankings of set, right? Because
Uh-huh.
you've played for a long time. And a lot of people say like set 4 is the best. Some people are like set 4 is the worst. And obviously there's people in between. Where do you kind of play
Uh-huh.
set 4?
So I've only been playing since set 2. So I've played like 2, 3, 3.5, and 4 now. And I think my favorite personally, I think a lot of people wouldn't agree, but I really enjoyed set 2.
Hmm.
And after that, I think I enjoyed set uh 3 and 3.5 were pretty close. I think I like them pretty equally. And 4 is probably like way below that.
Oh,
But
really? Wow.
yeah, like 2,
So it's
3, and
been slowly
3.5.
downhill for Emily.
Yeah,
Huh.
but 2, 3, and 3.5 are actually all like pretty close. Like I think I enjoyed all of them pretty equally. And then 4 is kind of like a little lower or much lower. But yeah. I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy
Okay.
the part where like I felt like high rollers are just rewarded way more this set than
Gotcha.
usual. Yeah.
Hmm.
Right. So
Okay.
it's more like the competitive balance feeling of things, right? Like you didn't like the way how strong like certain aspects of like getting lucky and high rolling was.
Yeah, like high rolling chosens, for example, or like early game synergies, stuff like that. I felt it was
Sure.
yeah, it was a little bit more unbalanced for me than the previous sets that didn't have this feature.
Okay. Dan,
For sure.
Frodan, what do you think? Because we've had a lot of talk about this kind of thing over the course of the show and just in our own conversations and all that. What would you say for these questions?
Okay. I thought you were asking me if I would rank my sets because I feel like we did that at the
Well, let's
beginning of
do it.
set
Let's do
4.
it. Let's have we? Well, it's
Okay,
been a
so
while. I can't
we'll
even
answer these
remember what we ranked it.
questions. Yeah,
All
we'll answer
right.
these questions and then we'll at the
All right.
end kind of.
Oh, wait,
So
can I
what
add one more thing? Oh, sorry.
go
I
go for it. Go.
Go ahead.
no, I just also wanted to say there was like I felt like every patch except for this patch is good, but there was always something like super OP. Like I was so sick of seeing Warwick. There was just those weeks of Warwick. Oh my
Uh,
gosh, I almost didn't want to play. And then there was like the Talon weeks. Like there was just something so horrible for so many patches. And yeah, that was the other thing. But yeah, okay, keep going. Sorry, keep going. I
all
just had
right.
to.
You're gonna enjoy our award show because there are
Oh
some
yes.
categories that what you have just mentioned we will be choosing based off our nomination.
I was gonna say,
Um,
yeah, definitely. Everyone, stick around for the award show for
oh yeah,
that
it's
reason,
gonna
if not any other ones. Frodan, what are your answers to these questions?
So what I like most about set 4, I think set 4 had some of the highest amount of risks we've seen yet in TFT game design. For one thing, they pretty
Excuse me.
much took one of the biggest fundamental risks was that they added like 40% more champions to the pool than every other set before. For reference, I think I said this last time, but if you combine every single like champion that was represented in set 1, 2, and 3 across the champion they removed for set 3.5 and put in, like total, it was like 52. And then now, like just in the pool of set 4 was like 58. So there's just a lot going on. And I thought that was overly ambitious at first. And I was pleasantly surprised to see how much it ended up being okay in terms of like the consistency. I kind of thought you couldn't do anything consistent at all because of that number. But I think they did a really good job doing that. The second thing that I feel like doesn't get enough credit is that I think item balance is in a really, really good spot relative to like where it was in the past. And TFT is an auto battler that's like heavily defined by your items, right? And so if items balance is not good, then it's going to create this dynamic where like it really sucks to get dropped certain like combinations where you don't feel like you can do anything. There's still some bad combinations, right? Like if you get like 3 belts or you get like too many cloaks, and these kinds of dynamics still exist. But like in terms of the general item parity, it's been never better than before. It's been better than ever, I think. In terms of what I would improve in the set, I mean, Emily kind of hit one of them, which is like I do think that there was a lot of issues with competitive balance and a lot of patches. I think most notably like Warweek, and then that was like preceded by like Ari, and then there's Talon, there's Aphelios Moonlight reroll, there's Zed reroll times, and so
yeah.
It felt like TFT still struggles with the same problems that it's always had. Like we're not going to pretend like this never existed in the game. Mech Infiltrator back in set 3 or Blender in set 2 or anything that you can kind of point at as being really problematic. So I guess like I wish we could improve the amount of balance in the game, but Mort's already posted many times about how hard it is to balance. So I don't know the solution. I can only just echo what everyone says. It's just like, please find a solution.
I think TFT is the oh, sorry, were you done? It sounded like you were finishing. You can keep
I was just gonna say the second thing. The second thing that I wish I could improve about this set is just the level of communication that isn't Mort Dog. I feel like Mort puts so much on his own shoulders to like communicate everything, patches, design philosophies, esports. Like he's posting tournament results, and the Riot Games account was not, and it was like it kind of lives or dies based off of the base god Mort Dog. So I really wish that Riot would kind of approach TFT a little bit more proactively, as opposed to kind of like this side game mode, which it feels like it's treated very often. It feels like in some ways it feels like we're no different than the ARAM community, and that's really not the case. TFT is massive. There's so many people that love just TFT, and maybe even dip into Summoner's Rift a little bit, and I just want more support.
All right. It's so I won't all right, no, that's it. I think that's all pretty valid. I won't go through all of this stuff, but I really like set 4 a lot for the fact that the biggest fact that it made me play the game differently than I ever have before. I will admit I've always been a dirty composition forcer. If there's a composition, like I just force Star Guardians for basically all of set 3. Like I had an account where I played flexibly and I tried to do something different every game. But the account that I first got to Masters was the account that I only played Star Guardians on every single game, and it worked. Yeah, it's Frodan remembers that well. It was like a challenge to see if I could do it. And it worked. So the chosen mechanic, while you still kind of can force stuff in set 4, it's much more difficult to do that, and I like that. I like that the chosen mechanic makes me want to play differently every game, because it gives me what looks like appealing options that I might not think of otherwise. So I feel like set 4 has been like the best set for me and the growth of myself as a TFT player, I guess, because it's kind of forced me to play the game differently than I had in the past, and I think it's made me a better player overall. I won't say if it's my favorite or not yet. It might be. I really loved set 2 though, so I think it's really, really tough to pick right now between those, because set 2 had some great stuff, man. I mean, it had Ocean Mages, which I love, some Sins. Inferno was a lot of fun. We won't talk about like the Shadow patch towards the end, or like what was Darkness or Shadow or whatever it was at the end. We won't talk about that. But
Zed patch.
Yeah, we won't talk about the Lightning Zed patch. Glacial Brawlers. I had a sick like Glacial Ezreal 3 build that was a lot of fun. I like set 2, but I think set 4 is still kind of like edging out everything else in terms of my favorite set in TFT right now. I think it's personally, I think it's the best state the game has ever been in terms of like taking this concept of teamfight tactics to like where it can go. And like maybe not everyone would agree with that, but that's okay, because I think that's one of the things about TFT is that like you'll never have everybody agreeing that it is a good patch. There will always be somebody that hates it for some reason, because like Mort said himself in videos in the past, that like there's no other game really where every single thing in the game is in every game. And so balancing that is probably just impossible, honestly. You can do as well as you can, but it's probably never going to be perfect for everyone, which is fine. you know, people will still play it. You'll have your patch. It's still a great game. So it doesn't really bother me that much if the balance is off here and there.
Oh, I do want to say one thing, by the way.
Yeah, go for it.
Upon release, Set 4 had the best like launch week out of any TFT meta that we had, right? Or I guess that Set 1 was like different because it was like the first time we were exploring the game. But like Set 2 and Set 3 and even Set 3.5, like the launches were not like super fun because the formats became pretty degenerate pretty quickly because you know Ocean Mages dominate so hard early in Set 2. And you know, in Set 4 there was still a little bit of that with Cultists, but once we fixed that, it was definitely one of the best like releases that we've had.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think so. I don't know if Mort is like spoiling Set 5 stuff in chat, but I'm gonna read it because he put it in chat. He said, "Hey guys, League has all these cool skins. What should we do for our first new TFT set? I know Molten Zyra. Oh, I think he was talking about Set 2 then, because that was kind of like Inferno maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't mind Zyra coming back.
Oh, I
Who
love
knows?
Zyra. She's my favorite. Please put her back more.
It was fun. Set 2 was really fun. I
Yeah.
also played a lot of Zyra in just League too, and like Summoner's Rift. So
Yeah, I have
sure.
so many games of Zyra in League. It's like almost 1,000,000 mastery points.
Actually, I wanted
Wow.
to ask Emily, why did you start playing TFT in like Set 2 as opposed to earlier when, you know, I think maximum hype for TFT at Set 1 kind of hit, you know, critical mass. I'm kind of surprised you didn't start playing till Set 2.
Yeah, so I actually played a bit of because I started with Dota Auto Chess. So when TFT came out, I did play a little bit, but I actually preferred the Dota one back then, which is why like I didn't play too much TFT. And then work got really busy around this time, so I actually just like kind of didn't play anything for a while. But yeah, when I came back, like and work wasn't so busy anymore, the first game I wanted to play was like another like auto battler because that's what I was into at that time. So I came back in Set 2. Yeah.
Got it. Fun
That's kind
fact.
of how I got into it too. Is Underlords into TFT because I was like, oh, I know all the characters in TFT. I'll play that instead. And then I was like, oh, it's just a better version, so I'll just keep playing that. Sorry, were you going to say, Frodan?
I was going to say, I don't know if you saw the news, but the makers of Dota Auto Chess are making their own MOBA, which is
I saw
hilarious to me because Dota Auto Chess is obviously a custom game within Dota too, and now they're making their own MOBA off of the IP that they made in Dota Auto Chess. I don't know. It's
goes
really
both
fun.
ways, I guess.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
I didn't get it, but I was like, I don't know. Whatever. They made a lot of money off of Auto Chess, and they're really hard work.
If you watch the video, they're like, we know it's weird. They even say like, we know it's like a saturated space, and we know it's weird to get into it, but we just really love MOBAs. And I'm like, that doesn't make it a good business decision, guys. You're going up against like Dota and League of Legends. Like, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
May the best MOBA win.
For sure.
But yeah. But back to TFT. Do we want to shift the conversation to 4.5? There's a lot of stuff to talk about with that. What do you think?
I think I think one thing we didn't really talk much about was the chosen mechanic as a reflection of Set 4, and I guess it's kind of real
about that.
4.5. And I kind of want to ask, you know, Emily, you brought it up, the chosen mechanic and how it felt like it was bringing power spikes that were too hard to catch the leaders of, or they were just too impactful. But like overall, you know, you're just kind of mentioning it in passing. What's your thoughts on like the chosen mechanic upon reflection on?
Yeah, I mean, I think the chosen mechanic was actually a good thing to have. It brought something new and fresh to the set. I just think like what made it kind of bad in the beginning was that some chosens, like chosen Timo, for example, or like chosen Lulu, there were just some chosens that were too overpowered. And also before like the chosen rates got toned down, it was just way too easy to like have not like 7-8 talons at level 7. Or like chosen talons, like everyone with a chosen talon or like chosen Warwick or whatever at 4-1. And that was the part that like was kind of something that I think I didn't like that could have been balanced a bit better. But overall, I think it was like a new and fresh and good thing for the set.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can't help but feel that chosen is really good in small doses. I think when you start playing at the volume that Emily and the rest of us play at, I think chosen you start to see a little bit of you start to only see some of the negatives of chosen, which is, you know, the fact that everyone else has a chosen and you don't, and then let alone you have found good chosens, and you know, the one person found chosen and can actually get to level 9, and level 9 accesses or opens up the most powerful position in the game. So it's like essentially, like Emily said, you get a free path, and it feels like a non-game for that person. So it's not even that fun to really play unless you really enjoy winning. And then for the rest of the people, it feels so bad because it feels like you're only playing for third or fourth at
Yeah.
best. And so I think that like one of the more interesting things about chosen mechanics or any kind of mechanic moving forward is like how can Riot like continue to innovate on the novelty of it, because at first chosen was really fun, and then we started seeing some of the huge weaknesses of it, which is the crazy impossible task of balancing chosens across the board,
Yeah.
because they kept tweaking it so many times and we still didn't
Yeah.
find a comfortable play.
Yeah.
It's ambitious. It's like you mentioned earlier, Frodan. It's like the most ambitious thing I think they've tried yet. And I really appreciate it for that. And like I mentioned earlier, I feel like it really did make me a better player because it incentivized playing differently every game. And I think that's like ultimately the main strength of the chosen mechanic, is that it really does make you want to try something new, you know? And I'd say that that doesn't apply as much, of course, to like the top competitive players, because everybody's min-maxing there. Everybody's just going to do, whatever build is the strongest that they have access to. And so when you're playing like that, then you get into situations where you'll be able to recognize clearly you didn't get as good of stuff in your game as the person, one board over did from you, right? And that doesn't feel great. But for the vast majority of TFT players who are not pro players, obviously, I think it was a good set in that, or it's been a great set so far because of the chosen mechanic, because it kind of does make you a better player and expands what you can do in the game and lets you play more flexibly. So I really love it. I'm looking forward to when something new comes in set 5 already. Just because I'm like ADHD or something, and I'm always just like looking for that next thing. I'm like, okay, that's great. Chosen was really fun. Let's go to the next thing now. But like, I don't mind at all playing the game with chosen in it for another few months. I really enjoyed it. So is it perfect?
Good
No.
news, though.
What? What'd you
There's
say?
still chosens to come.
All right. I'll take another few months of chosen. I don't mind. But yeah, is it perfect? No, nothing ever is gonna be. It's an impossible game to balance perfectly. That's fine. Was it good for me? I enjoyed it. It's been cool. Yeah. So
Let's chat
speaking
set 4.5, DoA. I'm excited for it.
Me too. I was gonna say, speaking of new chosens, there we go. We'll just play the Riot video in the background where they talk a little bit about some of the things that are coming. 4.5, obviously we have a lot of champions leaving, more champions than ever before, and I think that's the biggest thing that jumped out at me is we saw some pretty big differences in terms of synergies and things like that between set 3 and set 3.5, but that was nothing compared to set 4 and 4.5. Like it is going to be. Well, I've been playing on the PBE a little bit, and it is a different game for sure. What's been your impressions? Have you got a chance to play much on the PBE yet, Emily?
Yeah, I have played, not like an extreme amount, but yeah, I've gotten to play on PBE a bit, and I think it's like pretty fun so far. Once I started playing, I think it was already balanced pretty well, or much better, because I just started playing a lot more like a couple days ago. And like Orin, for example, I thought was pretty cool that he like poops out more items. Yeah,
Wow.
and I think the new champions are fun. It's like I think I like the mid set because it doesn't take as much time to learn because so many old champions stay, but then it adds like a breath of fresh air. So far I think it's been fun. I can't like say too much about it because I've only played like 10 games. But I've had more fun on PB since it's newer.
All right.
Yeah, I think that this is the most fun time to play TFT for me personally, just because it brings me back to the beginning days when TFT was first launched. I think a lot of people who play TFT and waited for the 13-hour queue or the 24-hour queue to get into the beta back when it first launched can all remember that TFT didn't launch with rank, and you just played with your friends. You played normals. You just it was some of the most special gaming time of the year for me. It's my favorite gaming moment because it's July 4th weekend. I just chose to play TFT instead of going out for July 4th. And it was really, really good. And I think PB kind of reflects a little bit of that, where like everyone's discovering really powerful broken stuff. People are making like in-house rules, like no one's picking Samira, it's just way too strong. And then you just kind of like create your own rules. No one really cares about losing because you're just kind of messing with stuff. No one will flame you for like losing in a serious way. No one's really bad because everyone's bad. And so I personally enjoy PB environments a ton. Not to mention that like this is also the most when the Riot devs can even come and play. Because we everyone knows that in the community that the Riot devs are super engaged. So, it's really fun to see Mort and Tej and Whitrock and all these other great ride devs like hop in and even engage and play with us. And I think that's a really cool like coming together moment. So I've been really enjoying people.
Yeah, same here. It's this is what I always say, like when there's a new game that's coming out or a game that's in beta, it reminds me a lot of like the Hearthstone beta back in like 2013 or whatever it was too. Like whenever we have a PvE like amount of time for TFT where you just get to get in and game. You just get to have fun and nobody's like telling you you're doing it wrong, because nobody knows if you're doing it wrong or right. It's just much more pure gaming. Which is ultimately like when it goes live, just play the game how you want to play it. If you're not a pro player, you don't need to worry about being like min-maxing. Just play the game how you enjoy it. And sometimes people get a little bit too hung up on like, oh, what's the optimal way to play? Well, like if you don't need to make a living or win money playing the game, then just do whatever you want. Have fun and have that pure gaming experience. But the PvE is nice when we get to do that kind of thing. Oh yeah, and there's also this. Apparently we're talking about this. Yeah, the item changes. They added in that new item UI for a little while in the PvE, which did definitely do a better job of making it easier to not make mistakes with your items. But it did look a little bit too mobile, I think, and it seems like they agree that it's going to be reverted back to the way it was with the bouncy item cubes, which is a little bit sketch from time to time, but I enjoy it. So I'm kind of glad we get a little bit more time with it before it changes. What do you think? Did the item situation ever bother you, Emily, when you were playing?
I felt like I actually like the way it has always been. I mean, I didn't play enough PvE to like get used to the new UI, so I wasn't used to it yet. But yeah, it never really bothered me. I never really like made mistakes making items or anything like that. Like sometimes I couldn't find an item because it would get stuck behind like another one, but I
Yeah.
never really had much of a problem with it. So
Like every
I'm
once in a
fine
while,
with
I
it.
would grab the wrong one and then
Yeah.
tilt off the face of the planet with it. But what I noticed on the PvE when they made the item change, like the first day that they had the new item system in, I was just like forgetting to use my items because my eyes just like wouldn't be trained to look at that part of the screen.
Yeah,
So I'd
yeah,
go,
same.
yeah,
Look, I got no items to start. Come
Yeah.
on.
like they're right there, but like your eye just never looks at that part of the screen if you've been playing
that's what I
TFT for like a year and a half now,
Yeah.
So I'd be like, what? I had like an infinity edge just sitting there and like I didn't even So it was frustrating in its own way. But it's one of those things where you kind of gonna have to learn. I wish there was like what I'd love to see if there was like a hybrid way that they could do it, where you would have that more organized, crisper item system, but still maintain the feeling that you're moving around a three-dimensional object. I enjoyed that part of it. It just feels good to move the items the way it is now.
There's a lot of like underrated things about the UI change. I know that it was like not super well received. I think largely because people just don't like change and they've been really accustomed
Yeah.
to it. But
Naturally.
streamlining the mobile PC experience is a really big deal, just visually for people, especially if we want to get mobile players to eventually take the game more seriously and play on PC, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And so like there's a lot of nice things about that. I like that the fact that I can look at my items while I'm on carousel, like that was a really nice thing instead of just tabbing back and forth. I'm like, wait, what did I have again? And then you're like, wait, I missed my pick. I missed my half second where the barrier drops, so I can like get the jump on the person on the opposite side of the carousel. So there's like these like small quality of life changes that were a lot better. But the most frustrating thing was that they said that you have to choose between the mini map or you have to choose between the item inventory slot. And I don't know why the mini map's completely like cosmetic, unless you want to just like click on a bunch of boards. But for some reason, it make the game feel a lot more alive because when people would ping, for example, you could see like everyone then goes over and sees like this 3-star Yasuo at like stage 2-3, and there's like this big WTF moment that everyone shares together. And so it felt like a lot lonelier all of a sudden, and also more annoying when pings actually happen because then you don't really know what's being pinged or who is pinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't like that aspect.
Yeah. It's got this kind of like charm to it where it is like a bit like scuffed feeling from time to time, but at the same time, the fact that it's got these things that you wouldn't expect to be in a game like that, like a mini map where you physically click around, it's kind of neat, it's a kind of a cool, feeling to it too. So that's what I was saying earlier. I'd like to see some sort of like hybrid, where we don't go fully into the mobile experience on desktop. I don't like that direction. I understand consistency, but like I play on a PC for a reason and I don't play on my phone for a reason. and so I don't want to like feel like I'm playing on my phone even though I'm on my PC. So it'd be cool if we had some sort of like hybrid, right, where you could still do silly similar things, but maybe make it a little bit more user friendly from time to time. I have accidentally grabbed the wrong item and combined the wrong thing, as everyone does once in a while. So
just wait till they release in like 8 years Wild Tift, and it's gonna be the mobile version of TFT.
They'll have like half the champions. Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, they kind of announced a little bit of that. Something in the video that talked about that we actually didn't have the audio was that Teach mentioned that they're working on turbo mode for TFT as a game mode, so that you can quote play on the toilet and play during class. I'm not sure why. I mean, the toilet thing was more like tongue in cheek as a joke, but like the during the class part, I was like, whoa. At least they understand their audience. A lot of university students or high school students who don't pay attention.
First of all, I think it's unhealthy to sit on the toilet for that long, even if it is like, 15 minutes or something like that. Secondly, don't play it in class. Kids, please pay attention to your studies. Like you got time, outside of it. I'm just trying to be a responsible adult here. It's my first time. How'd I do?
They're not gonna listen.
Okay, I give up. I'm done.
Also, spectator mode. They, actually talked about it and said end of set 5. So sometime in 2021,
moving forward.
We'll see.
I'm convinced that Blizzard is going to release an auto battler before spectator mode comes out for TFT at this point, because they usually have their timeline where it's like they'll release their thing like maybe 3 or 4 years after everyone else does. So we got like Heroes of the Storm like a number of years after League of Legends. So we'll get the full. I know we've got Hearthstone Battlegrounds. We'll get the full auto battler like in 2-3 years or so. It'll be pretty good, but it'll be kind of late.
We know what Mort and Tej and Whitrock and all of them should be doing.
I'm sorry, Mort.
Down the road, they should be making their own MOBA based on TFT. Don't you think? I think somewhere down the road, the developers of TFT should take a leaf out of the Drodo Studios and make their own MOBA. That'd be cool.
That's right. Yeah. I jest, Mort. I jest. I know there's things, that there's all sorts of stuff behind the scenes that makes it difficult for things to happen. So I feel you, man. The developer life is a hard life. It's true.
All right. I know that we've been dominating conversation a lot. Emily, is there any like other things in this announcement or anything about set 4.5 that you want to call attention to or talk about?
Wait, did they say how long turbo mode was going to be, or no? I missed that part.
They said like 10 minutes, something like that, 10, 15 minutes. They mentioned like a short time frame in the video, if I remember right. I watched the video when it first came out, but I haven't watched it since then.
Okay.
Mort in chat and Milk says 15 to 20 minutes.
Wait, that's so long.
Oh, okay.
Like, what kind of turbo mode is that? I was thinking like 5 to 10.
It's turbo compared to TFT.
It's like you roll down twice and then that's the game. That's too little. 5 to 10 is like,
because it was like you sit on a toilet and play. So I was like imagining 5 to 10 minutes. Like no one really sits on a toilet for like 15 to 20 minutes.
I think that's dangerous. I don't know.
You'd be surprised.
No, I heard Solus does. Like
Solus.
Yeah. So but I don't know what he's doing there. So
he's got beta access. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Solus is beta access.
Yeah, that's he's just
what he's doing.
I got you back, Solus. Don't worry. We know you're in the turbo beta.
Some people don't eat as many vegetables, but
true.
Yeah, that's true. Gotta have that balanced diet.
Yeah. I mean, if it's 5 to 10 minutes, like the carousel takes like 2 minutes, by the way. It's not something that happens. So, I don't know. The game is just over after the carousel immediately. That sounds kind of
I really wonder what it's going to be like, and I'm not just saying that facetiously. I honestly don't know. It'll be cool to see. For me, they mentioned this in the video too, or I heard Mort talking about this on a stream or somewhere else, that it's like it's not really going to be as much for like the hardcore TFT players, because we're probably just going to want to still play the normal game. But for it seems like it's to help people get into the game more. Make it just more accessible, which I like. The more people we can bring into the scene and enjoy the game, the better. So even if I don't end up playing it all that much, I'm still gonna be glad it's there. As a turbo option. Yeah,
I also look forward to seeing what it could be as well. So we'll see.
Could be cool.
All right, is it time? Is it time to unleash the Emilyywang onto tier list. Emily, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm
I
ready.
think it is.
Oh. Okay,
I
so
was
for
very
people who are
excited
new
about
to
this.
once again, we challenge our guests to build a list of their top 10 players in their region. And since it's a North American podcast in English, we tend to have NA players on. And so we're going to ask Emily in any order, in any structure that she wishes. She could even choose to just put one name on the list. She builds her own top 10 players of
Be
North
bold.
America. In any
Okay.
order. You can start 10 go all the way to 1 or 1 all the way to 10.
Okay, so I mean, I'll just start off with the bottom probably first.
I like it. I
All right.
prefer that order.
All right.
I
Makes it
think,
more exciting.
yeah. Wait, I also need to open up the.
You need to remember who
List.
plays.
Yeah, I need to remember
Who's
who plays. Okay, so
Me too.
um,
You can also reorder them at the end, by the way.
yeah,
If you
true.
like,
I'll just
yeah.
like put people up there. So I think like, I've always thought that like, I guess Socks is a good player. I think he's in the middle for me because he's not like my top 2, but I think I've always thought he's like pretty solid. Definitely in the middle actually. So I think Socks would be there.
Okay.
Soju, I've always thought he was like a pretty good player. But he has like a lot of his ups and downs. So like I remember in set 2 he was really good until he tried to play Hunters every game and almost into down to GM. And then there was a point he was like below me in LP, and then now I just saw him
Ouch.
playing in gold, plat, and OCE and bot 4ing. So like he just has like a lot of these highs and lows, but I think he like does belong in the top 10.
That's very gracious of you after what you just said.
And I think like also Kiyun is pretty good. I'll probably have to reorder these, but I think those are like players I would put in the middle most likely. I think Kiyun's pretty good. He's really good at forcing something and getting rank 1 with it. As a flexible player, I think he's just like okay. So that's why like I would put him in the middle as well.
Agree.
And in the past, like I've always told Polt, like, because me and Polt would talk about who we thought the best players was. And I would say that I always thought it was like Milk, because I really respected Milk for a very long time, ever since set 2.
A lot of past
then
tense
ever
in those statements.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
problem is, like, ever since set 2, like, he's just been going downhill. Like, in set 2, he quit for a little bit, and then in set 3, he quit for a little bit more, and in set 4, he quit for even more. So, like, I feel
Wow.
like he's the type of person that, like, if he's motivated and he tries really hard, he's, like, for sure number 1 in my heart and, like, probably number 1 in NA. But he has, like, a mental, like, weakness that, like, he can't play TFT, like, he doesn't have the strong mental capacity to, like, just keep playing.
He needs that mental fortitude.
Yeah, he needs the mental fortitude.
I see.
Milk says it's Mort's fault in all caps. Well, I could have just said Milk said it's Mort's fault. Then people would have known how it was typed.
So I would put him as like first, but if he tried harder, he's like first for sure to me.
Needs that mental mortitude.
Yeah, mental mortitude.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, and then I think GVA was like someone that me and Polt talked about a lot in the past that we thought was just like very, very solid player. So like he's definitely up there along with Milk. Higher than Milk because I think GVA's mental fortitude is much higher.
He's got a pet. That helps.
Yeah, he has multiple pets. I think I belong on this list as well, but it's okay. You don't have
very top.
Yeah, somewhere above. No, I'm just kidding.
I like it. Ellie, where do you go on this list? Are you going in the middle? Right above Milk?
Probably
It's your tier list.
somewhere below GVA and above Soju. Yeah.
Okay. That's reasonable.
Yeah, and also like, yeah, I feel like Solus is one of those people also that is similar to Milk, but not as good. So like he's very good as well, but his like mental is also a little weak. So like when he tries really hard and somehow his mental is like stronger during like a period of time, he can be top 10 or like top 5 or whatever. But yeah, he also has problems with that, so he's probably like somewhere in the middle as well. I mean, he's like a more pleb version of Milk, is what I would think of him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
scuffed milk
see.
or discount milk.
Let's see. Wait,
We've
who
got
else is
7
there?
so far.
Wait, let me see. Who am I missing?
Uh,
I mean,
some
okay, so
other
then he's like a newer player, but I think New Bowel is very good. He's like rank 2 right now, but I feel like he's just been consistent this whole set. I don't know about him in like the previous sets, but when I watch him play, he's like really flexible and knows a lot of pivots and just like I think he actually plays a game how it's supposed to be played, where
Hmm.
like he doesn't force something. He really does play with his brain on the whole time. So like I think he's a
Hard to
very
find.
as
good player.
opposed to the other people on this list.
Bring it off. What about
I agree. New Balance is a rising
This
name
is
for me.
this is not the order yet. I'm gonna reorder it at the
Okay.
end. But yeah, and then who else is there? Who am I
Where's
missing?
my Birdosaurus at?
Oh, Bert's pretty good, but I don't know.
You don't need to put it. That's fine.
Some people put like Kurum on the list. Some people talk about Saint Vicious.
Oh yeah, Saint. I think Robin is pretty good. Robin would probably be somewhere on this list. Probably like mid bottom. Saint kind of quit this set, so like I don't really know. And Crumb, I don't know. I've like personally never thought he was like top 10, but yeah. And you can tick me off. I was kidding about myself being
Wow.
top 10.
Hot take.
I was taking you very seriously at face value. So
Wait, do I
I'm
need
a-
2 more?
You need 2 more? Yeah, I guess you need 2 more
at
now.
least 2 more.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I actually think Saint's a good player, so maybe put Saint on here
he is.
because I really thought he was really, really good in set 3. I think 3.5. He played super well. And in set 4, I
Saint,
think
I was gonna say Saint is like old Luke Skywalker. Like he's a master, but he's like out there now. He's just on some other planet. We don't know where he is. We'll
Mhm.
find him someday. We know he's wherever he is. He's still good.
Yeah. I think if he's also one of those people that like if he just comes back and tries, I think he'd be really good, especially since he's like proven how good he can be in like 3.5, I think set 1, set 2, stuff like that. So like he's definitely a really, really good player if he like if he actually cared. And one more.
That's a theme going on in your list.
Because a lot of these people don't care.
If they cared.
Yeah, sad.
You see the potential in people, and I respect that.
Mhm.
That's what I'm learning here.
All right, one last.
One last one.
Aegon? How about him?
Oh,
Okay,
Marketing
Aegon?
god Aegon?
I think if Aegon weren't so focused on his plushie business, he could also be really good. So yeah, I'll just put
True.
Aegon in there.
True.
He's really good
Alright.
at tournaments.
True.
Yeah.
But hey, plushie pushing takes a lot of priority. It's a booming business.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think like people like DQA, Setsuko, they're very good as well. But yeah, let's just keep this list. And so I think number 1, I would just like keep it as GV8.
Okay.
Because I think he's just like always been most consistent, good, flexible player, strong mentally, and he's always cared about the game pretty much. And I
Hard
think
to argue.
yeah, I think for 2, I'll probably just like I'll just keep Milk there still because I see a big potential in him. He was good in the past sets.
Milk, Emily believes in you. You can do it.
Yeah, but
That's right.
I DM him and I tell him he can do it. He's just like, I just can't. I only care about my earnings, and TFT has no earnings, so I'm not gonna play. This game sucks. I hate more dog. Blah 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 blah. So like you try to
Wow.
encourage him, it doesn't work.
Delicious milk and expose.
What to say in that case then?
And then and third, probably just I think Hyun's pretty good. He's also like one of those people that doesn't like tilt as easily. And he's very good at hard forcing and also playing flexibly. Yeah. And then yeah, 4th is probably New Bowel. That's actually really correct. And then 5th, I think probably like Socks.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Socks
Socks.
moving up. Solus.
Poor Solus.
Yeah, and then
Robin.
after Socks, I don't know.
You're
Aegon's
saying
probably last. Aegon's last, and then
right?
Saint is second to last. Yeah, and then Robin
Okay.
is probably third to last.
So
And then
Soju versus Solus.
that one's
Who's
really
higher?
hard. I think it's probably still Soju over Solus.
Oh, poor Solus.
I mean, right now it's actually Solus over Soju for sure. But in general, like Solus is like goes to GM a lot and stays there. I don't know why, but because I don't watch him enough, he just streams when I sleep. But yeah, for sure, right now it's Solus, but better than Soju. But like in the past, it's Soju better than Solus.
But so you're
Our
saying
producer
Soju has
getting
potential.
confused who
Yeah,
you
Soju
want
has potential. Yeah, let's just put Solus above Soju is fine. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
because he's better now. He's better
Okay.
now.
He's doing better. Okay.
Excellent. I know.
Yes.
I think it's safe to say that this was the best list we've ever seen on this show.
Mm.
This is also the point where we actually say that we are not doing any more NA tier lists because this is the best one. We can't top it. So moving forward,
I think it's the most correct one for sure. Yeah.
It's the number one tier list of tier lists. We'll have to do a tier list ranking sometime. And revisit this. Yeah.
we've had enough guests where we can tier list people's tier list.
Yeah, we could get screenshots and just do that.
Well, you
We'll
can
have somebody.
The next guest do that, like tier list,
Yeah.
people's tier lists. Oh, that would be lit.
Okay.
We'll have Mort do it. That sounds good to me. Yeah.
You can have Mort do it.
That'll be fun.
If he's down, yeah.
We'll get Mort back on the show again one day.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe if we haven't offended him too much, we'll see. We'll see.
All
But
right.
he has the power, so he's down. All right, cool. It's so are you ready for some mailbag questions? I believe we can head in that direction now, Emily.
Sure.
So this is from Ricebox. Hey Emily, back in November you mentioned you were moving to Korea. Are those plans still happening? If yes, how are the Korean lessons going? And are you going to go for rank 1 Korea?
So yeah, back in November I did mention I was moving to Korea because Pol is there. But I think now our plan is I'm gonna go in mid-February, February 13th, 14th, and I'm just gonna stay for like 7-8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and then come back to see how I like living there, and then decide after that, after staying there for like almost 2 months, and if I like it enough, and his contract with he stays at T1 doesn't like completely fail, and he stays, then I will.
I believe in him. He has a lot of potential.
Yeah, hopefully.
I can't help but notice he didn't make the top 10 list.
Oh, Polt?
Yeah.
He doesn't play this game. He's like stuck Masters right now. I can't put him on there. It's against my conscience.
He could if he wanted to.
So people who
I
don't
believe
won't make the list.
Yeah, but I only knew Polt in set 3. Like I didn't even see him at all in like set 2 or much in set 4. In set 4, like we play together sometimes, and he makes some really questionable plays.
It's all right. He's coaching the best League of Legends team ever, so it's all right.
It's a real key thing to end the relationship.
Okay, but yeah, I'm in Korean lessons. I think like I haven't been focused on it, but I'm trying. I'm going to try harder. And am I going to go for rank 1 in Korea? Yeah, I need to go for top 10 because Solus and Kiyun both said they'll recommend me to TSM if I hit top 10. And Polt said he'll recommend me to T1 if I hit rank 1. So like I have a huge incentive to hit this. So yeah, I am.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Korean lessons too. Talk to me in Korean.com. I'll plug their site because I use that. It's a great site. Yep. There you go. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? I feel like we
was that so Ricebox, because the question was chosen, is the winner of the giveaway. Congrats. Hope
that's
that
right.
Either you watched it or you're on social media. We'll send it to you.
Congratulations. You asked a great question. You have a lot of potential.
The only question. I think that might be the only question that we have.
I think it is. So on that note, I suppose we're going to be moving on to our awards show, which means we have to say goodbye for now to Emilyywang, who's been an awesome guest today on Teamfight Talk Show. Before we let you go, though, do you have any shout outs to make? Any stuff to plug? Like what's going on in the life of Emilyywang right now?
Not too much. Watch my stream. I'm trying to stream more. Yeah. And a shout out to um Soju and Solus, and I'm sorry if I offended either of you, but you both are amazing players and streamers. So yeah, don't be too upset. Yeah.
Feel
I'm sure they'll be fine. They never take any of this stuff to heart. I know them. They're very chill. They're very calm individuals.
Oh, really?
Not prone to fits of emotion. I wouldn't be concerned if I were you.
Okay.
I'm sure it's fine. So we're gonna, like I said, award show coming soon. Frodan, any quick final thoughts on this part of the show before we take a little quick break and transition over?
No, Emily, you're a fantastic guest, and I hope it's not the last time we see you on Teamfight Talkshow. Come back again sometime soon.
Okay, I'll come back if you invite me again. All right.
We will. It'll be morning in Korea, but we'll get you on.
Okay.
So thank you to Emilyywang for joining us today. Again, just because this part of the show is over doesn't mean we're going offline. Oh no, we've got the Golden Spatula Awards coming up. You don't want to miss that. We're going to take a very, very quick break, and when we come back, we will award the very best moments, the most exciting, the highs, the lows of set 4 going to set 4.5. The big set 4 first half send-off. Don't miss it. We'll be right back with more of that in just a little bit. Oh, and welcome back to the Golden Spatula Awards. That's right. This is it's a much bigger top hat than I expected. I got this, it was like $11 on Amazon. I'm not sure if I'm like an old West preacher or if I'm doing an awards ceremony. I don't know what's going on here, but we've got some great awards to give away. That's right. It's time to send off the first half of set 4 in style. Frodan and I have been consulting pretty much each other about these categories, what the categories are going to be, who we're going to have win, and now it's time to unveil. So we've got a bunch of awards to get through. Let's check out the first one. Frodan, why don't you introduce this one for us?
All right, so all the names are names of the awards. We're going to call this first one the Some Sins Award for the best design composition, in our opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to do is we're going to give you we had a lot of different nominations, right, of like what would be the best. So we're going to start things off with our honorable mentions of who got it. So one of them was Cultist. We thought Cultist was really cool because it captured the elementalist and like the mech feel of it without feeling, except for 1 or 2 patches, like it was way overbearing. And ultimately summoning Galio was a really cool thing that you can kind of build towards. So that was a really good thing. As well as Elderwood, which is kind of like this nice, like, forest of trees that you came and got really powerful over time. Really simple, but also a really cool synergy. But the winner of the Some Sins Award goes to Dusk. First of all, of course, making Riven a really cool carry. Also the fact that Dusk was a super flexible composition, that there's a lot of ways that you can go into it. And also was pretty balanced, even though it had like periods of time where it was really powerful, because it was so expensive and it had like a proper risk and reward, which is ultimately what you want to see out of something in TFT, which is the very delicate balance between risk.
Yeah, that's right. I liked it. I think it fit into a lot of different things. It was a good comp. It was exciting in that it buffed your whole team a little bit, but then you also got to really zero in on a couple different carries and all that. But there you go. In our opinion, the best trait of set 4, the best, comp trait / whatever you want to call it, is going to be Dusk. Our second category, best designed champion. Let's take a look at the runner-up. And the runner-up is Kayn. A fun champion, obviously. He can be your carry. You can take him 2 different directions after he's been in combat for a little while. And that was a neat trait to have with a champion, is one that you could adapt on the fly in a way that, was sort of items, but not really items. His ability was fun to watch. He was a pleasing to the eye champion, but there can only be one winner. And the winner of the best design champion of set 4.1 or whatever you want to call it is Azir. Azir is amazing because he brought, I know, shut up chat, because he brought the mechanic of putting extra dudes on the board. So you get the sand soldiers that really provide a really interesting sort of aspect to the game that we've never seen before, where you get these sort of dummy units that you can use to draw your opponent's attacks and things like that. And then the late game, I think there is no champion as skillful as Azir in terms of how you set those up and the effect they can have on the board. So for that reason, he is our best designed champ of set 4. Any little thoughts on that, Frodan?
Nope. Well done. And I love everything that Azir brings to the table. Our third category, the most underrated comp / synergy. The honorable mention goes to Spirit. Spirit, I think, was a composition for a while, was just basically used to break certain attack speed thresholds like Aphelios or Zed. But as time went on, I think people really started to undervalue it. I guess there's like this idea of like Ari, but for a while, Spirit is like one of these things where you splash in 2 of and you realize it's really powerful. And I think overall people weren't really attributing Spirit in terms of a lot of their mid-game composition. However, the most underrated comp, I think everyone can agree, is Fortune, because this comp, many people write it off as a composition that's meme territory. You're stuck in Fortune prison. You can't ever get out. But when people started catching on to the fact that Fortune was really good, then people started realizing that it wasn't a meme anymore, and that Fortune was a really powerful thing that you could force and even have really good success and consistency.
Yep, that is correct. Let's move on to our next category, the most overrated comp. Our runner-up in the category of most overrated comp is Duelist. Just because you get a chosen Yasuo Duelist does not mean you must play Duelist. Sometimes it doesn't work out. You have to think the relative strength compared to the rest of the lobby. This is a comp that I felt like the entire time people were overvaluing. It's never been as good as people have said it was. It's our honorable mention. But the winner of the most overrated comp is Fortune. That's right. It is simultaneously the most underrated and overrated comp too, because everybody, figures that it's pretty strong, but they don't know how to play it well. So then they fail hard with it. That's how it works. Yeah,
it's true, because the casuals look at it and say, "Oh my God, Fortune's going to do so much for me. I've lost 6 in a row, and I know that there's legendaries and Thieves Gloves and Nico's Health and all the really cool things in it. It's going to be the promised land once I win." And then you realize you get a bunch of 4-cost champions that weren't part of your synergy, and then you
overrated it.
Right,
that's true. It's Fortune, both overrated and underrated, and that brings us to our next category, Frodan, the biggest bait.
The biggest bait. This award goes to different traps that happened in the set that people have to be really careful about, and things that didn't work. So the honorable mention, of course, goes to 5 Moonlight, because this was a really cool synergy. You can get Aphelios and Silas, and you can get Diana and Lissandra, get all the Moonlights in. But 5 Moonlight, it was always bait. It's at best an early mid-game composition that can power spike you. But if you ever tried to really re-roll for it, it was bait. However, there was one clear winner for the biggest bait, and that is Fortune. That is correct.
Obviously.
Fortune was always bait. It is overrated, it is underrated, and it is also the biggest bait composition. Because ask any streamer, you find that Fortune Tom Kench, and you're like, all I need is 1 Annie, 1 Jinx, 1 Katarina, and you're like, okay, I didn't find it at stage 2 in the very beginning. I can pick it off the carousel, but nope. The person on the opposite side of the carousel, for some reason, needs that tier on a Katarina and takes it away from you, and so you're stuck waiting for the third Fortune for the longest time. Fortune is the biggest bait in set 4.
Absolutely, no doubt. Overrated, underrated, biggest bait. Fortune had a massive effect on Teamfight Tactics, no doubt about that. But it's time to move on to another category, which isn't really so much a competitive category, but it's the best little legend. There are no runner-ups for this category because it's quite obvious. It is the Chonk. No doubt. What is that? I've never seen that before. Whoa, okay, there we go. What was that?
That was a clear winner of everything.
What was that? Oh, wow. Oh, it's Skara? I'm being told? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I guess, yeah, I could see him. Yeah, a bit of a chonk. I understand that. All right. Yeah. Well, there's the actual chonk from the game. And, chonks are pretty cool. They come in a lot of different varieties. That's the best one, in my opinion. That's the one I used as well. But, yeah, congratulations to Chonk, a.k.a. apparently Skara. Well, Frodan, why don't you take us through the most OP item of the set so far?
Right. Well, the most OP item, and we made a clarification that it's not Force of Nature. Force of Nature can't win this category by default.
Right.
We had actually a lot of debate. This is actually kind of a serious category, which we bounced back and forth. So the honorable mentions are Sunfire Cape, which was great because it was a new item. No one knew how good it would be, given that it was replacing Red Buff. And Zeke's Herald, which was an item that was quite ubiquitous. We talked about how powerful attack speed was in this set. And overall, Zeke's ended up being a very, very solid item that you never felt bad. There's even a meta where Zeke's was the best item to slam. And some people even argue that it's still really good, like one of the top 3 items that you can slam right now. But there's one clear item that I actually think is a really, really cool item design from a game designer's perspective is Hand of Justice. Hand of Justice was very clearly a ubiquitous item that can go on almost any champion carry, and any item holder could use as temporarily thing. You could put on your chosen. Even if they don't necessarily use a lot of the stats immediately, like the mana or the dodge chance, the fact that Hodge was so versatile ended up becoming such a powerful presence in almost every composition.
It still is, and it's in PBE, Hand of Justice is still one of the best, if not the best items out there. But this was a tough category because we talked about a lot of items. I was making arguments for things like Xerath Portal, Chalice, I think, is up there as well. And this is one of the best things about set 4, in my opinion, is that you can have that argument because there are legitimately a lot of really great versatile items in the set. So that was a fun category to discuss when we were coming up with this, for sure. Frodan, why don't you go ahead and do this next one too? Because I know this is a category that's very near and dear to your heart. So please.
This award is called Stop Trying to Make Fetch Happen. And this was one of the more, it's a very abstract category. It kind of goes to, something in the game that we just are a little bit confused by, or we weren't sure what direction it was heading in. And so the honorable mention of this goes to the Moon Man himself, Aphelios.
Naturally.
We weren't really sure what was Aphelios at the very beginning of the set, because at first it was a broken atrocity. It was just way too strong. And they just kept raising the mana costs for him for a long time. And so we were trying to find a way to make Aphelios reasonable, but for a while it was not the case. I think he ended up being in an okay spot by the end, which is why he didn't win the category. Because the winner of this category very clearly is my main man, Xin Zhao. I'm not sure what exactly happened with Xin Zhao. The fact that maybe he was supposed to be a secondary carry for Warlords, but Warlords really much was Katarina and friends. And we really tried to see Xin Zhao be forced. They changed the way he worked with AD. They're like, equip a Bloodthirster. Finally, he'll be viable. Totally not the case. It did okay for one tournament. I think I saw Fight Night on Giant Slayer, Hobos won a game. But overall, I wasn't sure what direction we end up taking Xin Zhao, and end up just kind of being fallen to.
Yep. It's Xin Zhao. He tried so hard. He was buffed so far, but in the end, it didn't really matter.
Didn't matter.
Pretty much. Well,
okay, next category goes fun one.
I know. This brings us to the category of the worst patch. And there's so let's take a look at the runner-up first. It's Warwick, of course. We all remember the week where Warwick was OP. So enough about that. Let's move on to the winner. And the winner, of course, is Warwick, the other one. Of course, the week where Warwick was overpowered. So yes, that's the patch.
There's 2 patches of War Week. It was the meta, and then there was War Week,
right,
where it was people were playing Divine. You got a Warwick 1, you got Static Shiv, you got Runan's Hurricane, you got any item actually you can put on him, to the point where people who don't even normally stream or main TFT were actually coming out to complain about it.
Like regular old League Pro casuals.
On the rest of the community about it.
It was crazy. Like we've never seen such a resounding condemnation of a patch before. So it was a significant moment in set 4, no doubt. It was exciting.
It is ironic. The patch I climbed the most LP on, but
hey, well, if you're a dirty Warwick abuser,
talk about much of that here on this show. All right, the next award is the Math Aptitude Award. This one is to a really cool moment that happened on stream for like some big brain galaxy stuff. Yeah. And so there were no honorable mentions. The winner of this award goes to Mr. Kyun
for one ash?
Of course.
For his infamous play where he had 7 ashes and 2 Nico's help on the bench, and he said, "I only need to find 1 more ash."
That's right. You know, the public school system may have failed Kyun, but he provided us with one of the greatest clips in TFT this year, where he realized that he could indeed make that ash 3
I'm trolling. It's okay.
Do well.
At least I found out.
It's a genuine reaction. I remember casting this game, and like Crowan and I and Keen were like,
Hi, I'm
wait,
very
he's got to have some like, 5 brain. Nice. There's his math hat, of course. He's got to have some sort of like massive big brain reason for not making this ash 3 right now. There's got to be. You have to assume the pro player always has some like brilliant reason, but no, there wasn't one. He just apparently didn't see it. So there you go. Congratulations, Kyun, with the Math Aptitude Award and a few words for us too. I believe. Maybe it's just a picture of him.
Did he?
Oh, okay.
I was told we had an acceptance or
I thought he was gonna.
Kyun.
Yeah, we don't.
Oh, okay. So apologies there. I thought we had Kyun record a acceptance speech, but we don't.
Me
so
too.
we'll move on.
We didn't hear anything on our end anyway. So you forgot. That was the answer. Let's go ahead and take this one, Frodan, breakout player.
Okay. This one's kind of serious because we do want to take some opportunity. As much as we like to joke and meme around, we want to actually commemorate some players that are really on the come up for TFT and one that maybe you should pay attention to. The honorable mention of this one, I don't think is going to surprise too many people. It's the winner of one of the qualifiers is Nantom, who has been killing it. A little bit inconsistent at times on ladder. Sometimes I see him go through ridiculous swings. But, when he put together some really impressive performances, I got to say that this, Nantom's on my list to watch of players in tournaments moving forward. But the winner of this one, and I'm pretty sure that many people will be happy to see this in chat, it's got to go to one of the newest professional players in Robin Songs, who has recently decided to pursue a full-time career as a TFT professional player and streamer. He's been winning events. He's been killing it on ladder. He's been memeing it up. And he's been paying a lot lot of rent living in Soju Shadow. But for how much longer, we don't exactly know.
First of all, I want to thank my girlfriend for always supporting me. I want to thank Rosaka for always holding it down for TFT, running Giant Slayer. I want to thank Soju, aka Bird Nest Hair, for always calling me a bot to give me motivation to farm him. And last but not least, I want to thank Twitch chat for never calling me old and always supporting me. Thanks.
All right, there you go. And
Awesome.
thanking Soju for letting him farm him. That's very friendly as well. Yeah. Wow.
I apologize. I wasn't sure if we had the video queued up because I thought we had something similar for Kyun, but glad that we did. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing your success in set 4.5 and beyond, especially as another win.
Hear it, but we can't. So it's okay.
Yeah.
If we had to pick one of us, we'll pick Twitch chat for sure. All right. Well, let's move on to another award for our players. This is going to be the best player of the set so far. Let's take a look at the honorable mention. Runner-up, Mismatch Socks. Congratulations. You almost made it. But the winner of the player of the set is none other than C9's own Soju. That's right.
That's right.
I believe he
Soju,
has an acceptance speech for
the only player across both qualifiers to have landed into the top 4. And Sox was also a person that was close to that, but landed top 8. And so, we don't have many tournament results to go off of. And I think a lot of people might say like, oh, are you just, talking to Soju or like picking him because he's popular? And that might be part of it. But also the idea that he's definitely one of the most consistent tournament players so far in set 4, objectively, if you just go off of the official qualifiers. So
Absolutely.
Soju, it's an award. And do we have an acceptance speech from Soju?
We do. Yes, we'll play it now. Soju has a few words. Oh, after this one. Spoiler alert.
Wait, hold on. There's another category apparently afterwards.
Who won it, do you think?
We actually approved this. Okay, cool. The winner. Oh, actually, the honorable mention of the biggest ego award goes to the heart-stuck diamond players on Twitter that harass Mortdog. It's really hard to actually go up against so much stubbornness. And on both ends, there's Mortdog who refuses to not reply to these people, and these people who always send daily mentions to him on an hourly basis. And so Unstoppable Force meets Movable Object. It's a really hard one to call, but the winner of the biggest ego award goes to none other.
Bro, you can check the leaderboards anytime in the next 10 years. If we are still playing TFT, there will not be a single time that I am outranked by Solus. Like it's
a first.
Boom.
Yo, GiantSlayerTV, thank you for awarding me with the best player of set 4. Well, first, I don't really know how I got that, but we'll take it. And then second, I don't even know if it's an award, but I don't really know how I got this one either, because if I'm the best player of set 4, how can there be an ego? But I mean, I guess I'll take it. I'm the only player with 2 awards, I think, so it's lit. Thank you. Also, thank you for all you do for TFT. Bet.
There you go. Soju, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
2 awards. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
It was, completely fair, and we voted on this, and apparently we gave Soju back-to-back awards. But that's not it, DoA. We have one final category to wrap up the show.
We do. That's right. The best guest, because we've done a lot of episodes of Teamfight Talkshow so far, of course, across not 1, but at least 2, maybe more sets. And so there's no runners up. The best guest on Teamfight Talkshow is the one, the only Teamfight.
Hey,
Daddy
I won
himself.
an award
It is
from
Mort Dog.
GiantSlayer. That's pretty sweet. Pretty happy. Thank you. Thanks to GiantSlayer, who's honestly been like the best partner for TFT. Keeping the competitive scene alive, doing really great stuff. So to get an award from you guys is really cool. So thank you for that. And honestly, it's been cool to kind of represent the TFT team. So I just want to take a moment to thank the whole TFT team, all the developers working their butts off to make sure that all of you guys get to enjoy TFT and have fun with it. So thank you. Yeah, this is pretty sweet. Now I'm going to go back to working on my skincare routine, and I'll see you guys later.
There you go. Without Mort and the rest of the team over there at Riot, we wouldn't be getting to play this game. We wouldn't be getting to do this silly podcast. And so big thanks to all of the Mort and the rest of the team for all the hard work they put into TFT. We like to meme, we like to joke, we like to call things off from time to time. But at the end of the day, we do it because of all of our love for Teamfight Tactics. And that is it. That is all the categories. That is the first ever Golden Spatula Awards. I'm sure we'll be expanding on this in the future. So thanks for bearing with us. But I got through the first one, and so
that's it.
That's it. Yeah. So I guess before we close out here, any parting words here, Frodan, from you?
Best. It's just like we couldn't do it without everybody, right? The game developers, obviously, the people that play it, the streamers, the personalities, the content creators. The fans, and GiantSlayer. Everybody is part of it. We love this community. TFT community is really special, and DoA and I have been around for a long time. If we use the Riot metric, we've been collectively around for decades, like 30 years.
That's right. Yeah.
Experience.
Decades of game broadcast experience.
Yeah. And TFT is truly special in terms of all the communities that we, immerse ourselves in. So hopefully to many more award shows in the future. And I couldn't ask for a better co-host, DoA. Sign us off, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Well, right back at you, Frodan, man. It's been a ton of fun so far in set 4. Set 4.5 and beyond is going to be even better. Huge thank you to our staff here at Giant Slayer for making all this stuff happen too. Again, big shout out to the team over at Riot for making Teamfight Tactics. Thank you all of you guys out there for watching. And we'll be back with you again for a lot more talking about Teamfight Tactics in a couple weeks. Until then, thanks for watching. Enjoy the PvE. Enjoy the last vestiges of set 4 before set point 5. Stay safe, take care, and we'll see you next time.